a demonstration for the MySQL project group 14. So in the central CIMS database, we have already added our user admin, and we have all his details already entered into the main database. This is our UI. We will be logging in through his email and password. So this is our UI. We have several functionalities. We will be going through each of them. Currently I have these users. If I want to add a user, I can just I'm adding a student here, and here we can see the message that the user was added successfully. It will also be reflected here. Here we are showing a list of all the available members of the project. We also have an option to delete the user. So the user that we just created, student 11, if I want to delete him, it will be shown here. And if I delete the user, they ask us for confirmation, and it checks if it was on the member was in group 14 and deletes if yes. Okay, so here I already have added an employee 1 to the database. Now let's look at employee management. Currently I print the entire employee salary table, which stores the information of employee IDs and how many number of days they have worked in the particular month, which will be stored in the month field, and their salary per day and their total salary. Now if I try to punch in with the ID of the employee, then the number of days should increase. We have added this to admin functionality because punch-in should be done in the under the supervision of administrator. The punch-in was successful, and now the number of days has changed from 10 to 11. We can also see that in the database. So earlier the entry was 10. Now if I reload, it has changed to 11. Now we will be looking into the inventory management. So we have already put some entries into the inventory to give you the demo. So here we have two entries, apple and grapes. So here we store the current quantity, that is the quantity that is currently available, the date of expiry, the minimum threshold required for any kind of item, the date of order, and it was updated by admin, so this is the admin member ID. As we can see that the expiry date for grapes has already passed, so for marking expired items as thrown away, we have this function which will now set the quantity of grapes to 0. We are not removing the entry because we want to add to the payments table whatever the money was spent on the orders. Also, if any other item which was not completely consumed or expired, we can add the consumed quantity. So let's say for apples, I consumed 2 kgs and I update the quantity. So now the quantity has decreased from 5 to 3. And the same changes will be reflected. Yes. So the current quantity of grapes is 0 and apple is 3. Now moving to the next section, which is utility management. Currently our utilities table is empty. And so here we are printing the list of utilities. So if I want to add an entry, let's say for a particular month 10,000 was consumed for gas, on April 1st, and I add the utility, so it will be reflected here and also in the database. So the next utility we have is revenue update. Um, Currently we have only one entry in the revenue table. So the revenue update is automatic. Uh, Let me add another utility, electricity bill, amount of 5,000, transaction ID 123456, sender admin, receiver So when I add this, it is reflected in the utility table, as well as now the values have changed in the revenue table. So the revenue update is completely automatic. And the changes also are reflected here. Moving on to the next section, we have vendors update. So the earlier two items that we ordered, grapes and apples, everything for it is stored. So let's say I have to place another order, 1003. Now I want to order bananas. Vendor name is Ramesh. To order let's say 48 pieces. Transaction ID let's say 456789. Sender is admin. Placed order today. Minimum quantity, let's say 10 pieces should always be there. Expiry date of a week from today, and the total cost being 560. So if I place the order, it will be added to the vendors. Now this entry we also wanted to be reflected in the inventory. As we can see, and updating the revenue. Yeah. And we can also see it in the vendor table in the database. Now I'll be logging out from the admin. These were the functionalities for admin. Now let's log in using council. The council member has the privileges to update the menu. So the primary key is month and day. So this is a yearly kind of table. So let's say if I add for May the menu for Monday, the snacks menu I want to add, burger, ketchup, cold coffee and tea. So if I add it, we can see that it will be reflected right here and even in the main database. So moving forward, mm, I'll be logging out from the council member and going to employee. So the employee has two functionalities. He can either view the menu or look at the salary details. So as we inserted this for snacks, so he can view the menu for Monday and he can also view the salary details. Um, yeah, so in the month of April, he has worked 11 days. His per day salary and the total salary can be seen here. Now we log out from the employee. Finally, our last user is a student. Logging in as a student. The student can only view the menu, provide his feedback, or launch a complaint. So, for now, what we had inserted was May Monday snacks. So, he can view the menu, same as the employee. Can also provide some feedback. Let's say the food was delicious. And the feedback, when submitted, it goes into the feedback table. The food was delicious. Similarly, he can also launch a complaint that the food was very spicy, and if he puts a complaint, then it can be reflected here. So these complaints can be reviewed by the council and admin. For the UI of our databases project, which was a mess management system, I'll quickly walk you through the code. Um, so the file structure is that main.py file has the Flask app containing all the APIs. Um, then we have the static folder which contains all the JavaScript files and the templates folder which contains all the HTML. Um, to run it, to run the server, you just have to run main.py and the website will be hosted on your local host. The entire source code has been uploaded on the GitHub repository, the UI development branch. Thank you.